It may seem early to be talking about Christmas, but the day is fast approaching. I know because my kids have me counting down the days. We're privileged today to be joined by Brian Doerksen. He is a father of six, a pastor, a songwriter, an award-winning recording artist. I think most of you know who he is. And he's about to release a Christmas album called The Heart of Christmas. So welcome, Brian. So good to have you on with us today.
So good to be here.
Well, you've been at this for, I think, 30 some years. Tell us about your new album. I did listen to it, loved it.
Well, it was a long time in coming. You know, the record label has been pestering me for like 15 years. Brian, when are you going to do a Christmas album? And my response was, when I have something to say. You know, there's a lot of Christmas music out there, and it seems like a lot of people recording the same songs over and over again. And I'm a songwriter, so I wanted to wait until I had a body of work that told the Christmas story from my perspective. So, you know, and about 2 years ago, my wife, it was in the middle of summer, the heat of summer, and she looked at me and said, "It's time." And she went upstairs, got a box of decorations, came into my office, set up Christmas decorations, you know, the peace on earth sign and Christ and all of this. And I'm like, okay. And she looks at me, get to work. So away I went, started writing new Christmas songs.
Oh, that is really interesting. Yeah, you could tell. Having listened to the album, had the opportunity to do that, and yeah, you could tell there's a songwriter at work here. Some deep lyrics there, which I really appreciate. Like you say, I mean, it's fun to have the Jingle Bell songs, whatever. They're okay, I guess. But this is about Jesus. It's His day, right? So, what do you feel is the heart of Christmas?
Well, obviously the story of Jesus and his birth, and the invitation that brings to all of us to receive love, to give love, to walk with those who need love. And for me, the heart of Christmas is this Emmanuel, God with us, but that he's with all of us, those that are in need, those of us in all parts of culture, you know, that we need that message. And I think Jesus is that presence in our life. And that, to me, is the heart of Christmas.
Well said. Any thoughts on how to keep Christ at the center of it all? Once this kicks into full gear, I mean, it's such a busy time of the year. I have trouble myself, just getting off focus, and you got to rein yourself back in, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the interesting thing is like I have two special needs boys, and for one of them in particular, who's not very verbal, but his birthday's a big deal. Okay, so getting ready for somebody's birthday is a big deal. And one of the things I did with our children is, this is the birth of Christ. It's like celebrating a birthday. So yeah, we do have to get some preparations. We decorate, we do that. But the point of it isn't all of what we're doing. Is to honor that person. So I think, yes, there's preparations, but it's keeping the focus on Christ, keeping the focus on welcoming him and honoring him. And we also do that by the way we love each other, right? Even, even giving a gift to somebody else can be a way of honoring Christ, because we are recognizing who that person is and we're loving them and acknowledging that we know them, right? But it is tricky. There's no perfect way of doing it.
I mean, I think we sometimes just need to simply, I guess, state the obvious in that sense. Even around a supper table with the family. Do you ever do that? You sit down with the kids and say, what do you think? What is Christmas about? And you actually talk it through to, audibly remind each other what it's about.
Yeah, and we did that a lot. And when the kids were younger, we would be constantly retelling the Christmas story, and then get the kids involved in telling the Christmas story. And really all for me, my album, The Heart of Christmas, is now a chance for me to tell that story in song.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, and it is well done. Again, the album, The Heart of Christmas, I encourage people to check it out. What are some of your favorite Christmas memories looking back over your life?
Well, for me, the Christmas tree the setting up of the Christmas tree, and then putting on vinyl records. I'm a vinyl record guy. Hey, look, we
Okay.
actually made this
I
as a
remember that
vinyl
too.
record.
Oh yeah, oh, that's great.
But I would put on some of the classic vinyl records, and I would turn off all the lights, and I would look at the Christmas tree, and I would listen to the Christmas songs. And I was always kind of like that. I wanted, even as a child, I knew this was celebrating the birth of Christ, and so I knew, I would, you have songs like Silver Bells, Silver Bells, it's Christmas time in the city. But I could do that for a song or two, but then I wanted to get back to Jesus, right? Like, okay, what is this about? And, so definitely my favorite Christmas memories are in the dark, but with the lights on the tree. And that whole process of the days before Christmas, of just really entering into the spirit of it. And it's funny because in some ways now I go, oh, that really connects with what I do now. And I was in essence doing that as a boy. I was just tuned into that. Yeah, and then there's certain, dishes that my mom would make, certain food things that would happen only at Christmas. This type of sausage roll that we would have every Christmas Eve, and so it's a combination of music, visual, food, and really worshiping Christ together as a family and as a community of faith.
Yeah, yeah, it stirs up warm feelings in that sense, doesn't it? However, as you point out, actually in your album, another aspect of Christmas is the fact that for many it can be a very lonely time of the year. You speak of dark, and there's the Christmas, tree with the lights on it. Especially for those who have lost a loved one, and your album has a song called Sadest Season. Tell us about that a bit.
Well, just over 6 years ago, my mom passed away, and my mom was kind of like, in some ways, the beating heart of Christmas, because she was the one preparing the food, really being very present for all of us, her children, her grandchildren. And that was such a hard Christmas. And I remember we somehow managed to get through Christmas Day, and it was the end of the day. We cleaned up the dishes, and I walked over to the piano, and my hands fell on this G major 7 kind of wistful chord, and this song just tumbled out of me. Christmas is the saddest season. Close friends and families gather and try not to mourn the missing. And this feeling of like how when you love deeply, when you lose, like this holiday of Christmas gets, like, to quote a friend of mine, Carly Rearson, it's stained with grief. Like, it's still the same thing, but there's now a stain on it of grief, like it impacts. And I think, we have of the faith persuasion, we believe in the death and the resurrection of Christ, and we believe ultimately in our resurrection. So we have hope, but that does not mitigate or lessen that feeling of grief in that season in any way. In some ways, it heightens it, because we feel like we're now separated from that loved one, right? They may be on the other side, but we can't experience their love or their care. So I wrote that song and then just kind of set it aside. And my wife was like, Joyce was like, you have to include this on the album because there's a lot of people who can relate to it.
A lot of people need to hear that song. Like I said, it kind of goes hand in hand. It's that double-edged sword. There's always that tension between the joy and the grief. Yeah, I lost my mom about a year ago, and it's very different Christmas.
And it's almost like for people who've lost loved ones, Christmas is the hardest of all, because it's the most close time of all. So then it becomes the hardest.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. What about the commercialization of Christmas? I mean, do we spend way too much on gifts? Big picture compared to so many developing countries. Yeah, we do. Is there a different or a better way to do things? Any thoughts on that briefly?
Well, I mean, I think we've always tried to both know and love and gift according to who the person is, but always do things every year that are about justice and the poor, and do both. Like, sometimes I think some people say, no, we shouldn't give each other gifts at all. We should just, and I think, well, See, the thing is, sometimes when we talk about loving God, we have to remember that the first way we express our love for God is loving those that are right around us, loving our neighbor as ourselves. And who's our closest neighbor but our family? But, really, truly. So let's love them well, but let's not forget the poor, as it says in the gospel. Let's find ways to give. I mean, the crazy thing is, of course, my wife and I are trying to be givers all year. We give to church and to charities and to ministries all year long. So it's not like Christmas we have to try and catch up, but we do need to do something. And it's a tension. You described it well. There is no way of getting out of that tension between commercialization and the meaning of it, Christmas. And we just try and walk through that with grace.
Well, again, the heart of Christmas, the name of your album, it is about Jesus, and you're passionate about the gospel of Jesus Christ. Can you share a little bit of your experience with music? I mean, can music touch people's lives to the extent of actually bringing them into a relationship with their creator? So people put on, a vinyl album or a CD, or they listen to an MP3. Can it actually be that powerful, you think?
Absolutely, and I've had so many letters and stories over the years. I have songs like a song like Creation Calls, which is about the beauty of creation, and the chorus it goes, "How can I say there is no God when all around creation calls?" And I remember back in the day when I went to take my special needs son for an award to the video store to sign out a DVD. And I present my video store card to the video store clerk, and she looks up at me and goes, "That's so weird." And I go, "What's weird?" She goes, "Well, you've got the same name as this kind of name I can't pronounce, but he's a music guy, and he's got a song on YouTube. It's all about the beauty of creation, and when I watch it, I weep, and I'm not a person of faith, but I'm being drawn, and that's so weird that you have the same name as that guy." And I'm like, "I'm that guy."
That's great.
I'm that guy. That was me singing that song, and she gets all wide-eyed. And it was just beautiful to hear her story without any... just the trigger of the name, that she was being drawn just through the power of a song and something in the song that she could relate to. So music is a way to the heart, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a conduit for the Spirit of God to
Yep.
reach through and touch people. Everybody loves music. Now, and there's so many people, going through difficult times. And a number of years ago, you went through a winter season, darkness, some struggles. You say you almost lost faith in God. So you can relate to people struggling with this as well, right? So, I mean, there's people watching right now who may be going through a very similar season. What advice would you have for them?
Spring will return. Sometimes winter is very long, and I'm speaking metaphorically now, in our souls. But I think I have a song from an old project called "Will You Love Me in the Winter," which is about this heart cry, I think, in the heart of every human being, is when I can't produce, when I can't generate anything, am I still worthy of being loved? And having, for me, special needs sons has really illustrated that. They can't produce according to the world, but I love them so completely. So my just gentle advice to anybody who's going through that is trust deeply that you are loved, and let the love bring back that spring, that new life, that in time it will come. For me, it took some time, but it will come. And and then I think music can help with that. I think other people of faith, surrounding yourself with other people who are good at that, have faith in God, but also are good at loving and listening to you, and be patient.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, we need people around us, people of faith around us. You mentioned how important, of course, your wife was to you in supporting you during this very difficult time. Yeah, absolutely key. And then again, music can help us so much. Tell us about your upcoming concert tour. Speaking of music, I see you're going to be coming to Southern Alberta, concert in Medicine Hat. I believe it's December 12th, and then Tabor, December 13th. So tell us a bit about that.
Well, we're really excited. It's a partnership with a fellow named Tim Neufeld from Tim and the Glory Boys, and myself and my band, and we're doing Heart of Christmas, sharing the heart, sharing the songs. We'll sing a few of my kind of classic worship songs that people know and love, and it's my full band. And we're going to go throughout Alberta and share the story in the heart of Christmas. And we're pumped. We're coming to Southern Alberta.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm going to try to get out to this one in Tabor, hopefully. Well, I guess it's longer to drive Medicine Hat, but Medicine Hat's a great place too. So, where can people buy tickets for this concert tour, and where can they actually buy the Heart of Christmas album?
Well, if they go to just briandoerksen.com, if you click on the events link, then it drops down a menu, and all of the events in Alberta are listed, and you can go right through there, buy tickets. And if you're at there, briandoerksen.com, if you click on the shop link, you can get CDs, vinyl records, you can even buy a digital download, and you can support artists like me and others instead of supporting mega corporations like Apple by buying it straight from us. It helps us pay for our production costs. And my wife and I would love to ship you a CD or a vinyl record right to your door. So, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, briandoerksen.com. Hey, appreciate the time, Brian, today for sharing with us here, and just appreciate your heart for communicating the heart of Christ. Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, that's great, isn't it? Brian Doerksen, award-winning recording artist. Do check out the album Heart of Christmas, briandoerksen.com. On behalf of all of us at Bridge City News, thank you so much for watching.